Fish are often perceived as passive creatures, yet they are deeply responsive to the environments they live in and the routines they become familiar with. When a fish starts feeling ignored, one of the earliest emotional signals appears in the way it positions itself inside the tank. Instead of swimming freely and confidently through all layers of the water, it may begin hovering near the front glass whenever you approach, as if expecting interaction, only to drift away slowly when nothing happens. This repeated cycle of anticipation followed by absence of engagement can shape behavioral disappointment over time, subtly changing how the fish responds to your presence. Another meaningful change happens in their natural curiosity. Healthy and emotionally stimulated fish constantly explore their surroundings, weaving between decorations, plants, and open swimming areas. When they begin to feel overlooked, this curiosity fades, and they may spend long stretches in one corner or behind a single object. This is not just laziness, but a behavioral reflection of monotony, as the environment no longer feels dynamic or rewarding. A noticeable shift may also occur during feeding times. A fish that once responded instantly to your presence or the sound of food hitting the water might start reacting more slowly or even ignoring food temporarily. Emotional understimulation can dull excitement toward routines that once provided stimulation, making feeding feel less like an engaging event and more like a passive necessity. Some fish develop heightened alertness toward movement outside the tank. They may swim quickly toward the glass at every shadow or motion, hoping for attention or enrichment. When this expectation is repeatedly unmet, the fish may retreat again, reinforcing a pattern of hopeful approach followed by quiet withdrawal. Color vibrancy may gradually diminish as well. Fish often display their most intense hues when they feel secure and stimulated. Emotional neglect can contribute to slightly faded tones, reflecting subtle internal stress rather than physical illness. Restless swimming patterns may emerge, especially repetitive pacing along the tank walls. This behavior often reflects an attempt to find stimulation where none exists, mirroring boredom-like states seen in many animals. Even social species may begin distancing themselves from tank mates. This quiet withdrawal suggests that emotional disengagement can extend beyond human interaction and affect general social behavior. Some fish become less reactive to environmental changes such as light shifts or nearby movement. Instead of responding with curiosity, they remain still, indicating a loss of interest. Increased interaction with reflections may also appear, as fish attempt to replace missing engagement with perceived companionship. Ultimately, a once active fish may become passive, drifting without purpose and showing less enthusiasm for its surroundings. When a fish begins to feel emotionally neglected, one of the most noticeable transformations happens in its daily rhythm. A fish that once moved with confidence throughout the day may suddenly shift into irregular activity patterns, resting during times it was previously active and moving aimlessly when the tank environment is calm. These changes suggest that the fish is no longer responding to a stimulating routine, but is instead adapting to a predictable and emotionally empty space where interaction has become rare. Feeding behavior may also lose its sense of excitement and purpose. Fish are capable of associating their owners with feeding routines, and when that connection weakens due to lack of presence or engagement, their reaction to meals can become slow and indifferent. Instead of eagerly approaching the surface, they may take longer to respond or eat with reduced enthusiasm, reflecting a fading association between care and reward. Some fish become unusually sensitive to movement outside the tank. In the absence of consistent interaction, they may interpret any approach as uncertain or even threatening rather than familiar. This shift from recognition to hesitation suggests a breakdown in environmental trust that once existed through regular engagement. A rise in hiding behavior is another strong indicator. Fish that once used plants or decorations as part of playful exploration may begin using them as safe zones, retreating for long periods and emerging only briefly. This increased need for cover often reflects a desire to avoid overstimulation in an otherwise understimulating environment. At times, fish may display sudden bursts of erratic swimming followed by extended stillness. These contrasting behaviors can indicate pent-up energy combined with a lack of meaningful outlets, creating cycles of restless motion followed by emotional fatigue. Social dynamics within the tank may also shift. Even species that typically swim together may begin distancing themselves from companions, choosing solitude over interaction as emotional withdrawal extends beyond human absence. Remaining near the surface or resting close to the bottom for long durations can become common. This limited use of space suggests disengagement from the full environment. Some fish may begin interacting repetitively with gravel or decorations, nudging or circling objects in a way that creates artificial stimulation. Environmental changes, such as new decorations or lighting adjustments, may provoke little reaction, showing reduced curiosity. Ultimately, the clearest behavioral shift is a quiet loss of vitality, where the fish maintains physical health yet appears emotionally disconnected from its surroundings. When a fish begins to feel emotionally disconnected from its environment, the first signs may appear in how it interacts with the space around it. Instead of moving fluidly through different layers of the tank, it may begin to occupy the same depth consistently, rarely venturing upward or downward. This limited movement can signal a reduced sense of engagement with its surroundings, suggesting that the tank no longer feels dynamic or rewarding. Another change can be seen in how the fish responds to light cycles. A stimulated fish usually reacts naturally to transitions between light and darkness, adjusting its activity levels accordingly. However, when emotionally neglected, these transitions may provoke little to no behavioral change, indicating that environmental cues are no longer meaningful sources of stimulation. A fish might also lose interest in newly introduced elements. Decorations, plants, or rearrangements that would normally trigger exploration may be met with indifference. This lack of curiosity reflects a deeper emotional disengagement from change and novelty. Some fish begin spending extended periods near filtration outlets or gentle currents, not for play, but for passive positioning. Remaining in these areas may provide a sense of consistent sensation in an otherwise unstimulating environment. Territorial behavior may weaken over time. Fish that once defended specific zones may stop asserting presence, allowing other tank mates to occupy their space without resistance. Interactions with shadows and reflections may also diminish. Instead of responding to shifting light patterns, the fish may remain still, ignoring visual changes. A reduced response to subtle sounds or vibrations outside the tank can develop, showing decreased awareness of external stimuli. Sleep-like stillness during active hours may increase, with fish pausing for long stretches in positions that suggest withdrawal rather than rest. Some fish may also stop engaging in natural grazing or foraging behaviors, even when resources are available. Ultimately, the environment becomes something the fish exists within rather than interacts with, reflecting emotional disconnection rather than physical limitation.